Hi, how you doing? I am Tim Carter, and you are watching Ask the Builder. And this is live, so nothing quite like live TV. And today, I am going to talk a little bit about, just in the first part of the live stream, about workbench design and a few construction tips. You might be surprised that it's really, really easy to make a few mistakes when building a workbench. It might seem really straightforward, and I'm about to share with you the most common mistake that people make. But before we go any farther, I want to thank today's sponsor, Stain Solver. Stain Solver is a certified organic oxygen bleach. It's a powder that you mix with water, and if you can clean something with water, if it can get wet, then you can clean it with Stain Solver. So it's really good. For example, at cleaning floor tile grout, dirty laundry stains. I mean, really tough stains in laundry. I had a person not too long ago ask if it would get rid of diesel fuel odor and out of clothes because they had washed some clothes that were stained with diesel fuel, but they still smelled like diesel fuel. And yeah, it gets it right out. It's an incredible deodorizer for pet stains, whatever. So Stain Solver, just go to the Stain Solver website, stainsolver.com, and watch the videos. Just hunt around, use the search engine. You'll be convinced that it's a really great product. My wife and I have been selling it and making it for almost 25 years. So we're believers in it. We use it all the time here at home. Okay. If you have any questions today, it's Ask Anything Monday. Here we are, just a few days away from Thanksgiving here in the United States. Really big holiday. It's a very light work week for many people. Not all people, but many people. They work today and tomorrow, then they take the rest of the week off. They get like a 5-day weekend. So I'm going to pretty much do the same thing. So I'm only going to do a live stream today and tomorrow, and then I'll be back next Monday. So, and then we're ramping up to Christmas. My goodness. So it's right around the corner. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about workbenches. But if you have a question about your own home, you need me to help you, I'm happy to do it. Just type your question in the chat box, and you'll be first in line to get your answer. So go ahead and do that while I talk a little bit about workbenches. And if you have questions about workbenches as I talk to you and I describe them, then feel free to ask those questions as well. I've built a lot of workbenches, as you might imagine, in my career. I've built them for myself. I've built them for my customers. I actually inherited, I use it now. I really cherish it. I inherited a really beautiful workbench from a neighbor of mine. This is going back 40 years ago. His name was Ralph Cotley, and Ralph was a wonderful man. He lived on Robinson Road in Pleasant Ridge, right next to me, and he had this. He was getting ready to move. His wife passed away, and he was moving out of this big house. It was way too big for him. It was actually way too big for him and his wife. And anyway, he had this wonderful workbench in the garage, and he said, "I want to give it to you because I know that you'll cherish it and you'll take care of it." And he was right. This thing was so well made, and it's the same thing. I would only pass this workbench along when I don't need it anymore. It's going to go to a family member. It's going to go to somebody who will really cherish it and continue to preserve it and act as its steward. So some workbenches are built that well, and you can build one like that. So let's talk about it. The first thing, if you're going to have a workbench on a wall, here's the biggest mistake you can make. And I see people, I made this mistake early in my career. And here's how come the mistake happens. So I I made the workbench like 26 inches deep and thinking, well, that's what a kitchen countertop measures, 25 and a half inches. And I thought, well, if it works for kitchen countertops, surely it would work for a workbench. Well, the trouble is that typically on a workbench on the wall, you've got pegboard, and it's a little too far to reach for the average person to get comfortably to get to the things that are on the pegboard. You generally don't have trouble with getting things out of wall cabinets on a kitchen wall because you're not always reaching to the back of the cabinet. And that's where people make their mistake because they think, well, I can get things out of the cabinets on my kitchen countertop. Well, right. But guess what? That glass that you're grabbing is is um, is only 18 inches away, not 24 inches away, or it's even less. It might only be 14 inches away. So you want to make workbenches if it's going to be along a wall and you're going to have pegboard on the back. You don't want to make them any deeper out from the wall than 18 inches. It's really, really important. Um, so that way you're going to easily be able to reach the things on the pegboard. The other thing that's really important is the height of the workbench. A lot of people, same thing. They just think, well, kitchen countertops are generally 36 inches off the floor. I'll make my workbench that high. Big mistake. Often you're working on something on the workbench that has some height to it. That something that might be 6 inches, 9 inches tall. And here you are with your shoulder way up in the air trying to saw something or try to put a screw in something or take a screw out. So you you don't want to necessarily make your workbench 36 inches high unless maybe you're 6'2" or 6'4" tall. So you have to make your workbench the to kind of match. It's got to be custom made to how tall you are, and you have to kind of experiment. And that's what I have told people, and that's what I've written in the past. You actually have to take some sawhorses or stack up some boxes, take a little sheet of plywood, uh, and just kind of start experimenting as to what is the most common thing that you might work on the workbench, and just kind of set it up, and then see what is the perfect height for you. All right, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't work for anybody else because it's your workbench. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the top. The top needs to be really strong. The workbench that I inherited from my neighbor, the way it was made, they actually took oak 2x4s and they put them on edge and they glued them all together. So my workbench thickness is 3 to 3.5 inches thick of solid oak. I mean, it's it's like the top of an aircraft carrier. It's so durable. Okay, so you don't want to just make the top of a workbench necessarily 3/4 inch plywood because it might have a little too much flex to it. You can get away with 3/4 inch material if um, have a really nice frame underneath it and you put some blocking under it so that the plywood is very rigid. One of the things I've done in the past where I start with a piece of 3/4 inch plywood is I have taken just regular strip oak hardwood flooring and I have nailed, just like you would nail the oak with, hidden nails through the tongues. I have nailed that to the 3/4 inch plywood so that the top surface of the workbench is oak. Oak is a really, really good material to make a workbench out of, the top of it at least, because oak is so durable. I mean, it's really, really a hard wood, and you can stain it if you want. You can urethane it, and then you can custom cut a piece of the oak to cap off the end so you can hide that plywood and hide the top. But it's really, really simple. Remember, you're not making a piece of furniture; it's a workbench, okay? But oak is the way that I would. It's the only material I would use for the top of the workbench, and I've never made a mistake doing that. And just keep in mind of the size, the overall size. You might think that 8 feet is enough. You're going to be stunned if you make a workbench that's 8 feet. You're going to run out of space generally pretty quickly. It doesn't take long for that to happen. One of the things I like to put on my workbenches, I have one at either end. You can buy these lights. They've been around for years. I remember having it in college. These crazy, they're like an articulating arm, like your elbow, and it's just a simple light that takes a 60-watt light bulb, and you can expand it to put wherever you want. I actually drill a hole in the workbench and then stick the light. Typically, it comes with a weighted base, but I get rid of that weighted base, and I just have the workbench go into a hole in the the light actually go into a hole in the workbench. Works fantastic. I got plenty of light. Works really, really well. The last thing I want to talk about is the pegboard. All right, so I've discovered, and remember, if you've got any questions about your home, workbenches, whatever, just put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. Uh, I'd say 20 years ago, I could probably look it up, but I was at the National Hardware store, the National Hardware Show, and it was in Chicago at the time. And I had gone to enough shows to know that if you want to find the really innovative products, that you had to go down to the basement. All right. So the basement is where all the tiny booths were. I mean, the guys who were just starting out, who were just displaying for the first time at the show. They don't have a lot of money, and that's where they're in the basement. All right. So um, I'm walking down this aisle, and I'm just kind of looking. A lot of stuff doesn't apply to me, and because there's a lot of different products at the National Hardware Show. I mean, it's a huge show. So all of a sudden, I see this pegboard, but it wasn't made from masonite. It was made from metal. And I stopped and I looked, and it had the regular holes in it, but it also had these slots, these vertical slots. They're about an inch high, and a lot of them, like rows and rows of these slots. And so I stopped and talked to the guy, and it was a guy in his 50s. He was the inventor. It's called wall control. So WALL, and then the word control. And I thought that was kind of an innovative name, because he's basically saying take control of your wall and have the correct pegboard. And it turns out that it was just an ingenious product. His initial design of all the little holders that went into the slots, he revised that, and they became much better, like Generation 2. But if you had the old-fashioned hardware, the hooks and things that go into traditional pegboard, he had those holes too. So you didn't have to throw away all your hooks and things. You could reuse them if you wanted. And that company has come a long way. It is absolutely, far and away, it is the best pegboard out there. I mean, I don't get paid a penny by these guys. I don't want to get any money from them. But if you're looking, if you want to buy yourself a nice present, and boy, the assortment of accessories and things they have, it's really remarkable. So it's called Wall Control. You can go onto my website. You can see photographs. You can see actually the photo of today's live stream is their product. All right. So, and it comes in different colors. It's all powder coated. It's really, really an amazing product. So get that steel pegboard for behind your workbench. It's that simple. And I love using the little acro bins. There's all different kinds of name for them. These little plastic bins, they come in all different sizes that you can put assorted nails and screws and fasteners in. Really, really great. And of course, Wall Control, they have a special little bar where you can actually hang some of those plastic bins right on the pegboard. So really, really great stuff. All right, let's see. Own some. Love the product. Yeah, Ronald, it's really good stuff, that Wall Control. It's I can't say enough good things about it. I just love that stuff. So, all right, I'm Tim Carter, and I'm doing an experiment today too. I thought I would try something different on purpose. I did not send an email to my newsletter list about the live stream, that it would happen today at 4:00. I just thought, okay, let's do the live stream and see what happens and see how many people we get. So, and also it's really not the best time of year to do this test, because as I said, this is a really unusual week here in America. People are just, I mean, some people who are working, they're really busy today because they need to get several days work done in 2 days. Or 3, but people are taking off Thursday and Friday for the most part, but a lot of people take off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So anyway, I did not announce it to my list, that my giant newsletter list, that I was going to be on today. So I just wanted to see how many people would show up. Hey, Will, there you go. Exactly. I know I had to hunt for it. Sorry, I just wanted to do a test. I like doing tests. I love testing things, and I just thought, okay, let's see what happens. Because you need to know, with my newsletter list, like last week, I got some complaints from subscribers. I think I even talked about it on Thursday or Friday. They're a little stressed out. They were stressed out by getting so many, getting an email from me each morning. And I tried to politely respond back to them, like, listen, if you're too busy and you can't watch the live stream, that's okay. Just ignore my email. Just just ignore it. Don't open it up. Don't feel obligated to open it, because what I'm doing on Sunday, every Sunday with my normal newsletter, I put in the links to all of the curated live streams. So as you may know, once the live stream's over, YouTube processes the video, and then it just becomes on YouTube forever. So you don't have to be here live, but it's a lot more fun to be here live. Why? Because I get to answer your questions. So if you've got a question, go ahead and ask me, and I'll answer it as best I can. So anyway, what did I also want to tell you? Oh, this afternoon I went up just before the live stream. I walked up to the top of my driveway and to get the mail. I live in rural New Hampshire, and we still have the mail delivered and to us, and it was kind of the temperature was dropping. We have a little bit of a cold front that has blown through, and it was I just was in this shirt. It was a little biting, but I had noticed that during the day, the company that does the snow plowing. I live on a private road. I live in this private development, and we contract out the snow plowing, and every fall they come along and they drive these wooden 1x1 stakes in the ground along the road at different points to alert the snowplow driver, like, hey, make sure you don't get too far off the road here, because bad things happen. So I saw those stakes and I just went, oh, it's coming. But I knew it anyway. I mean, I knew it's going to snow here. So if you want to see how bad it can get here, by the way, the worst snow I've ever seen in my life happened last December here. It was winter. They actually named it, AccuWeather or whoever names these silly storms. It was Winter Storm Gale. So if you go to my website, askthebuilder.com, just type in winter storm and it'll come up in the search results. But we, in just 12 hours, we got 39 inches of snow. I'm here to tell you, 39 inches of snow is a lot of snow. All right. So I know you may come from an area that has much more. And I've been to Mammoth, a ski resort in California, where they might get 5 or 6 feet of snow. But my goodness, 39 inches, that got my attention, let me tell you. So big snow. So anyway, if you've got a question, just put it in the chat. Happy to answer it. One of the things I want to let you know is I'm accumulating a really good list of topics that we're going to be covering in future live streams. But I'm actually thinking about when I want to do them, because I don't want to waste them, if that makes any sense. Because as we get close, as we move past Thanksgiving and move towards Christmas, people, it's just normal. I mean, historically, in all the years that I've done Ask the Builder, I have access to all the data, and I can see how many people come to the website a day. And right after Thanksgiving, historically, December traffic is much lower than all the other months. And it makes perfect sense. Come on. People are gearing up for Christmas, and home improvement is, the last thing on their mind. They're got family coming over. They're busy going to parties, whatever it might be. It does the list of reasons is a mile long. But the only people who are probably coming to the website, they've got an emergency going on. Something's gone wrong at their house, and they have to fix it. All right. So knowing that December is a slow month, it's like, well, I don't want to burn through a bunch of really good topics and not have a whole lot of people here on the live stream. So anyway, I'm going to work on that this week, try to figure out how to fill that time. But I do plan to do, a live stream Monday through Friday. And generally speaking, hey, how you doing, Steve? How you doing, Lennon? It's great to have you here. We have enough people here. We get enough questions to keep it going. Keep it going. So I just, I don't want to have to waste a live stream and waste a topic, if that makes sense to you. All right. Will's got a question here. City resurfaced my street and now I have a 6-foot long puddle at the end of my 2-car driveway. Think of gouging out a water channel for a drainage to avoid ice skating. I don't think I would do that. Will, I would just, You know what I would do? Here, and I learned this moving from Cincinnati, Ohio to New Hampshire. So in Cincinnati, the way that most people control ice in Cincinnati, probably, oh, I don't know, 98% of the people, 99% of the people, they put salt down. All right. And so they just melt the ice. Well, here in New Hampshire, um, because it gets a little colder, not much, but a little colder, the primary thing that people use here to deal with ice is we just put sand on it. So if I were you, because salt is just, I mean, first of all, salt's expensive, and then, well, it can be expensive. And number two, it's not great for the vegetation. You know, it can kill the grass and it doesn't help trees, blah, blah, blah. So I would just consider getting some sand and scatter some sand on the ice if you're worried about slipping. You know, I just, whatever. And it's a shame that the city did that. That can happen because, you know, they probably just added an inch and a half of blacktop and now the water's got no place to go. So what a shame. But I think you'll like using sand. It's easy, inexpensive. Here in my town in New Hampshire, down, you have the option. You can pay if you want. You can pay a private company to come and pick up your garbage, and some people do. But the town does not offer garbage pickup. Whereas where I came from, that was a contracted service that was provided by the city or even the village that I lived in. You know, the one, right before I moved to New Hampshire, you would just set your garbage cans out, and the garbage would just disappear. Well, here in New Hampshire, you either have to pay yourself to hire a private company to do it, or you can take the garbage and all your recycle stuff to the town dump, which is what I do. So you just plan your trips. You just you know, you accumulate some garbage in the traditional garbage bags, and when I have to go to the grocery store or I have to go to the hardware store or whatever, I always plan the trips to go when I know that the town dump is open, and you just throw it in a big bin and everything's cool, you know. So anyway, they have sand there. I mean, they just actually got 10 cubic yards put in this big bin, this outdoor shelter that's got a roof on it so that it doesn't get rain on it. But they blend. I don't know how they do this. They must have where they buy the sand from the gravel pit. They must blend. They must have some type of blender because they put a small amount of rock salt in the sand because the sand is always damp, and but it never sticks together. It won't freeze into it like a rock. So there's always a little bit of there's always a tiny amount of salt in that sand. All right, Lennon. Any recommendations for stripping paint off copper pipes? There's all kinds of great citric strippers out there, paint strippers. At least here in the United States, I know you're in the UK. We used to have a pretty powerful paint stripper. It had methylene chloride in it, and I think pretty much the EPA has pretty much gotten rid of that paint stripper. It had some pretty strong fumes and pretty toxic, but it really worked well. I would just buy a small pint can of a citric stripper, see what happens, you know, see if it works. But just as with all things, read the label, make sure it's safe to use indoors, that the fumes aren't really bad. I'll never forget when I was dating my wife back in the day. One of the hobbies we had is we would love to go to antique shops and we would buy antiques, and typically a lot of the stuff we bought was painted, and so we would strip it ourselves to restore it. Well, what a dummy! One Friday night or Saturday night, we're down in the basement of the house because it was cold outside, and we're stripping this furniture, and my dad comes downstairs like, "What the hell are you doing?" Because we were using this really powerful stripper, and the whole house had the fumes in it. So he was not too happy. So don't let that happen at your home, Steve. Yeah, there you go. Well, sand available in your dump in Maine. Yeah, exactly. So just use sand on it. It's going to work great. You know, simple as that. Let's see. What else did I want to share with you? Remember, any questions, let's put them in the chat. Happy to answer them. I wrote kind of an interesting column today. My column still runs in about 60 newspapers, and here in the United States, and I have to submit a column every Monday to my syndicate, and I have to also submit a photograph. So lately, it's kind of odd. Generally, I have a lot of really good photographs supplied to me by people coming to the website. I don't know, but in the last month, they've really dropped off. The quality of the photos is it's not good enough for publication, and it I just kind of take it for granted that people know how to take photos, and they don't. A lot of people do not know how to take photos. But anyway, so I had to go through a bunch of my archives, and I've taken thousands of photos. And last year, I had to do this consult down in Massachusetts, and where a homeowner had this horrible sewer gas problem. And it's a long, long story. Maybe I'll share it another day. But I had to supervise a plumber who had come. He had to take off 2 toilets, and I had to supervise him putting the toilets back on to make sure they were sealed right. And we had a company there that also did a smoke test at the same time. And anyway, I got a really great photo of this toilet tipped over on its side, where we had put the wax gasket on before we were going to reset the toilet. And most people have never seen the underside of a toilet. And so I wrote this column today about the things you don't know about toilets, and especially how they're supposed to be set, and some just really neat little tips. I'm going to have it live on the website in the morning. So if you go to askthebuilder.com and you click the Q&A navigation button, it'll be the first column that you probably see. So it'll be something about toilets. I don't know what the SEO title will be. So if you want to know some really cool things about toilets and see that photo, stop by the website tomorrow. All right. Yes. LOL. That's right, Lennon. Yes, Steve. So that was a really kind of a fun column to write. But the point is that you would think gosh, it's hard to believe, but it's been 28 years. In the 28 years I've been writing this syndicated column, that I would have written this specific column about toilets, but I had not written it. I went back and looked at all my past work. And so it should be a really fun column for a lot of people to read, because it just gives a lot of kind of insight into things they don't understand or know about toilets. And even down to the size of the pipe, the drain pipe underneath the toilet. Most people would probably never think about, well, what size is the pipe and why doesn't it clog more often? And I went into that in the column very briefly, why it doesn't clog. And the simple reason is because the toilet itself restricts the size of things that'll go into the drain pipe. So if the drain pipe is 3-inch diameter, you don't want 3-inch things going down the pipe. Simple as that. You prefer that the things that are going down the drain pipe are 2 inches or smaller. And that's exactly what happens. That's all controlled by the size of the colon in the toilet. So anyway, little things like that people don't know. Lennon, say hello to Katie Hopkins for us. I don't know. She's somebody. Look how I must not stay up with pop culture. I have no idea who that is. So I apologize. All right. So it's really kind of an interesting experiment. Also, like I said, it's a light week. Here in the United States, Thanksgiving, my favorite meal of the year. I look forward to Thanksgiving for many, many months. My wife's an excellent cook, and she's perfected over the past 20, 25 years how to make a really, really moist turkey. And typically we just have the turkey breast. My son likes the dark meat, and so we buy some legs and wings for him. But and I'll eat those. But anyway, we do a wet brine in salt water, with ice water, and put in some carrots and some onions and some other thing, and brine this thing for about 24 hours. And I mean to tell you that meat is so moist, you just simply can't believe it. It's just crazy how moist it is. A lot of people don't know how to cook turkey. Comes out really, really dry. And to me, there's nothing worse than that. And same thing with chicken. I did a lot of work years ago for a gentleman who owned the only slaughterhouse, the poultry slaughterhouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we became really good friends. I ended up doing a lot of work for him. And he taught me how to cook chicken. He supplied chicken to all the really fantastic top line restaurants in Cincinnati and some of the butcher shops. And it was his chicken was once you ate his chicken, you would never get the chicken from the grocery store. There's such a difference in flavor. But most people overcook chicken. And once he showed me how to cook chicken and how to, get it done to where it was still super juicy, all of a sudden it hit me. I thought, boy, you're right. My whole life I've eaten chicken that's pretty dry. So don't overcook that chicken. I mean, you got to cook it so it's cooked. But boy, once there's no raw meat inside, it's done. Get it off that grill. So anyway, there's more to cooking than you might ever believe. All right. All right. Will's got a question. Can I use older unopened pails of oil-based driveway sealer, or does it congeal? It should be okay. I think the biggest problem with products like that, Will, is what it says with respect to storing it. For example, if it's a water-based, I mean, it is water, it's oil-based. Okay, so it should be fine. All right. So, but water-based products, like a latex paint or any kind of a water-based product, if you keep that in your garage there in Maine, and you and I both know if it freezes, it's most of the time it's all ruined. Like if you open it up, it's all funky. It's horrible. So I think you're going to be okay. I think just look at what the label says. And if it says protect from freezing, and if in the past it's frozen, you might have a problem. Is it true you bleach your chicken over there? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't. I mean, maybe the meat producers do, like the big companies like Tyson. I don't think that American consumers would ever put up with that. If they found that to be the case, that it had some type of chemical treatment to change the color, I don't think that would be acceptable whatsoever. That would not be a good thing. So, but I'll tell you one thing: we eat a lot of chicken over here. Boy, it's a very popular meat here. Very, very popular. I mean, takes up a big section of the meat case in most every single grocery store over here. And I love it. I mean, I eat a lot of it. We don't eat that much red meat here. So when I do get to eat red meat, like a steak, to me, it's a delicacy. And to me, there's nothing like a really great steak, so I'm good with that. If I only have red meat every 2 or 3 months, I'm good with that. So, all right. So anyway, any other questions? Now's the time to ask them. If you like what you're hearing, always give that like button, click it. It really helps in the search algorithm for Google. Really, really helps a lot. And, it'll get us more traffic and more viewers over time. As simple as that. So anyway, I don't have much else to really say today. I knew it would be kind of a light day. And I had a big phone call end about an hour ago. And it was a pretty intense phone call. It was a good one, good phone call. So I'm a little spent, to put it mildly. So, but I knew that coming in. But I'll hang around here for a couple more minutes. If you have any other questions, love to answer them for you. That's the whole purpose of the live stream. Anything I can do to save you some time, save you some money, and that's good for everybody. Money is going to be a problem here coming up for a lot of people, unfortunately. I don't think that here in America, I talked about it last week a little bit, and I'll just talk a little bit about it again. We've got an inflation issue here in America, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. And it's really an issue because our government, and it doesn't matter about the party, it's just the fact that the federal government, is deciding to spend all this money that we don't have. So they pass these bills, and then the president signs them, and then that basically tells the Treasury, okay, well, just go print this fake money. And so they print $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there. They dump that money into the system, and then that dilutes the value of the money that's already in the system. So that's what's causing the inflation, because the people who sell things go, well, wait a minute. I need more dollars because you just diluted the value of my dollar. And so it's like a snake eating its tail. I mean, as soon as one person raises their price and then somebody else raises it, it just kind of keeps going downstream. And that's I'm not an economist, but you don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to be a rocket scientist or to understand this, what's causing this inflation. So you don't. It's just like in your personal life. You and I, we cannot go on this unlimited spending spree, and just at some point the credit card companies cut you off. I mean, if you're going to start getting your credit card out and spending it, that's why they have limits on it. Eventually they say enough, but the governments don't have that. They just keep spending. So that's a bad thing. That's a very bad thing. So that's why a past president of ours said elections have consequences. So if you elect people and then they start doing bad things, then bad things happen. All right. I hate inflation. I hate everything about it. So it really, really harms the people that don't have a lot of money. That's what I don't like about inflation. And I get a lot of their email. I mean, I get so many emails from homeowners. They always started out, I'm on a fixed income, and they're hurting because the prices of things have gone up. The prices of contractors have gone up. So they're trying to struggle with how they're going to fix something. And they're asking me to send them throw them a life preserver. So that's what I do. All right. Lennon's got a great question. What's your favorite DIY hobby? Well, my problem is that's a great question, actually. That's a really good question. I wouldn't, the trouble is, since it's my profession, I wouldn't call it a hobby. See, that's why I'm struggling with it. What I'd like to do most, if given the choice, I would do any type of a rough carpentry or a plumbing project. What I'd like to do the least is I've grown to despise. I hate anything to do with drywall. Now I don't like anything about the process. I'll do it, but I hate especially sanding drywall. I hate everything about it. So and I've become. I used to not mind painting at all. I don't like painting anymore. So isn't that funny? But plumbing, I'll do plumbing all day long. All right. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, is the door behind me an electronic smart lock? It sure is. It's the manufacturer's Lockly, Lokly, I think. Hold on. I think I've got. It's out in the other room. Anyway, yes, it is. So what you're seeing is the non-active side. So on the other side of the door, where this black screen is the touch screen that when you touch the center of it, all these numbers appear, and so you enter the combination in so that it'll unlock the mechanism so that you can get in the door. What's really interesting about it is that it's got an automatic randomizer in it. So every time you go to get in the door, there's like these circles. There's these different circles that have 3 numbers in it, and the numbers that are in the circles are always different. So if someone were watching you, like yesterday, if they were watching me, punch like on your phone, punch whatever numbers that your security privacy code for your phone is, and they memorize that, then they could break into your phone. Well, that doesn't work on this door here, Commander. That doesn't work at all because the numbers change. Where the number 1 is today is not where the number 1 is going to be tomorrow. All right. The other nice thing about this lock is it's a smart one. So it can connect to the internet. And so I could be halfway around the world and I could unlock the door for somebody who said, hey, I'm at your house. I need to get in. So I could unlock the door using the internet. So it's a really, really, and it's a really well-made lock. I mean, can you imagine how many lock sets I've put in my career? Holy moly, a lot. And I'm telling you, it's a commercial grade. I mean, this is a commercial grade lock set. It's really fantastic. Probably, maybe I should talk about it on a future live stream. I think that's a good idea. I will. But we'll probably do it after Christmas. Boy, so you've got raging inflation over in the UK. What a shame. I'll be doggone. It's horrible. It's just horrible. And I'm interested. So tell me, Lennon, or Steve, are the consumers over there in the UK, are they upset about it? I mean, or is your media over there, kind of stifling it, not letting the word get out? I mean, what do your neighbors say? What do your coworkers say? What do the people at the pub say? Uh, it's bad. It's gonna get worse here in America. Is all I can tell you. It's gonna get a lot worse. So it's really a shame. Really a shame. Will. Yeah, 3.34 a gallon. That's what I paid yesterday. California, five. Yeah, but understand part of the reason in California, a lot of people don't. It's really interesting. Go online and type in. I'm just going to make this up. I don't know that it's the right search phrase, but state gasoline taxes. So every state has a different tax that they apply to the gallon. I think here in New Hampshire, I would not swear to this, but I think our gas tax is like 50 cents a gallon. So if we didn't have that tax, right now gas would be 2.80 a gallon or so. But I think in California it's sky high. I think it's way over $1. That every gallon of gas you pay, $1 of what you're paying or goes to the state of California. All right. So, all right. Battery backup. It has a little battery in it. Yeah, it's got I think it's got a 9-volt battery in it, and that's right back here. That's on this side. But yeah, I'm positive it's got a 9-volt battery. Like I said, I'll do an open, like a monologue about it, and I'll have the book here. I've got all the information, but it's Lockley is the brand. So in the meantime, if you're interested, go look it up. It might be Lockly or Lokly, but it's Lockley. There's only going to be one company like that, and you'll recognize the lock right away. I don't. Yeah, I think so. I think the factory set code, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exactly. If you, exactly that's how you would get back in if the battery died. But it's got a little light on this side. So on this side, when the battery starts to go down, it lets you know. It's like, hey, put a new battery in, loser. so anyway, so if the battery goes dead, it's your fault. But you could be traveling, you could be out of town. Who knows. But the batteries last a long time. There's very little draw, and I don't think there's any vampire draw on those batteries whatsoever. I think they only draw current when when you touch that pad and it lights up. There maybe there's a tiny amount that is being used by an antenna, for it to be able to do Wi-Fi. So I haven't looked at the wiring diagram. I really don't care to, but all I can tell you is that I've had that lock in for a year and the battery's still fine. So last a long time. All right. If you got any questions, now's the time to ask them. I don't care what it is. Happy to answer them. And I'll tell you this very quickly. I got a really interesting press release from the people at Stanley Black and Decker. You may not know this, but I guess in the past 2 years, they purchased from Sears. They purchased the Craftsman brand. So Craftsman tools are still sold, but that whole brand is owned by Stanley Black and Decker, and they have these two things: this 20-volt toolkit and this other really neat toolkit and drawers. It's got some sockets in it, some other stuff that they're sending to me. They want me to look at it and see if I would recommend it for Christmas presents. So, boy, I told him, I said, well, we're running out of time. You better get it here. And actually, I thought it was just between you and me, although they'll see this if they watch the live stream. I mean, this is something they should have sent out 3 weeks ago, not 2 days before Thanksgiving or whatever. So anyway, because people, here's what you need to understand. This is another really kind of a neat thing if you've never thought about it. You see these giant, the big push for Black Friday, the Black Friday sales. In fact, Lennon, if you're still here, do they have that? Um, do you have that same marketing strategy over in the UK, where I mean the big push, to get like buy, the day after Thanksgiving. So the reason why is, if you've never thought about this is really important when you think about it. So the average person, like you and me, I'm just average. I'm not some billionaire or multimillionaire. I'm just like you. All right. So the average person has only got this much money to spend on Christmas. All right. I mean, even if they want to put some on credit card, they only want to go this far or whatever. So, all right. So they have a fixed amount of money. And once they spend that money, it's gone. All right. They're not buying anything else. All right. So all of these companies like are just swarming on you like locusts, in a plague, over the next few days, trying to get your money. They want to get your money before somebody else does and before you run out. So that's why I should have gotten this press release 3 weeks ago, and I should have already had the tools, and I should have written about it this past Sunday to be able to tell people, oh, by the way, this Friday, you should be buying these tools. So what do I know? What do I know? I used to eat lunch for 20 plus years sitting on overturned empty drywall buckets. I mean, I didn't go to, I don't have an MBA in marketing. All right. But anyway, I just went to the school of hard knocks. All right. Let's see. Yeah. If an outside, yes, exactly. Generally that the battery is always on the inside, because you have the touchpad on the outside. Yeah, I guess it's got, I imagine it's got, I don't know. I don't know about the lifetime guarantee with Craftsman. I don't know what they've done, what Stanley Black and Decker's done. I don't know. I'd have to look. You'd have to read the fine print. So the media here are the people's enemy. Welcome to the club. Yeah, Brexit, the vaccine. Yeah, the green agenda. Yeah. Wow. Heating went up 200%. Holy tomato. So I talked about that a week or so ago. I thought one of the first live streams. Len and Steve, if you have people who are suffering with that, it should be common sense, and people don't want to hear it. You just have to wear more clothes. And I know this sounds crazy. Those crazy knit hats. Maybe tomorrow I'll wear a knit hat during the. I've got a really comfortable one. I've got a little bit of an oversized head. Don't take that the wrong way. Don't make a comment, okay? So, like my hat size is 7 7/8. So regular old-fashioned knit hats, they're really hard to find good ones that fit, because generally speaking, the average hat's too tight for me. But I found a couple that fit really well. It is stunning if you keep your head warm. If you just put a hat on, it's stunning what a difference that makes. I mean, it's just crazy. So in the wintertime, when it gets cold here in New Hampshire, generally speaking, in the daytime, I'll wear long underwear in the house, under my regular pants. I have some really nice pair of jeans and other pants that have a lining. One of them has a felt lining. They're very, very warm. I'll wear a hooded sweatshirt. If you just dress and wear more clothes, I know it sounds crazy, but it may only be 60 degrees in your home, but you'll be warm. You'll be comfortable. So just wear more clothes. But a lot of people here in America are suffering the same thing. Our heating prices have gone up too. So yeah, exactly. More sales. Exactly. And the reason why you're not having no sales anymore is because the companies are getting their money from the people before the holiday. That's why that's happening. Yeah, exactly. Right, Jack. Exactly. But just so you know, let's try to stay away from, I don't want to ever really talk about politics here. I said it last week. I don't know. I get the feeling it's that way over all across the world, but here in America, we're at war. All right. I'll just say this. We are at war in America. And you can trace ours back to the fact, just kind of go back in timeline. All you have to do is look at how our bills are passed at the federal level. And there's no longer is there bipartisan support for things. It's the vote is always split down party line. So that tells you right there that no one's getting along. They're not talking to one another. That's bad. That's a bad thing. Everything about that's bad. It's just like if you have a spouse and you're not getting along with your spouse and you fight all the time. I mean, who wants to be in that situation? That's crazy. I mean, I think I teased that one day I'm going to talk about happiness and how easy it is to be completely happy. And to do that, you've got to get all the negativity out of your life. So you need to push those people out of your life. All right. So we're at war, and it's winner take all. And it's just like the Game of Thrones. If you've not read the Game of Thrones book series, or you've not watched those TV series, I recommend you at least read the first book, because what's going on here, and I think in a lot of countries in the world, it's classic Game of Thrones stuff. Just like the most powerful quote it's in the first book, is when Queen Cersei says to Ned Stark, who, I don't know, a week later gets his head cut off. Sorry for that spoiler. She says to him, when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. There is no middle ground. All right, think about that. That's no way to get along with people. I mean, it's, you win or you die. There's no middle ground. All right, so that's bad. All right, so we don't want to talk about politics here, because it doesn't help anything. It doesn't. People are grounded in their position, and if you want to talk politics, then there's probably 200 other live streams where you can go fight with those people, and that's all you're going to do. You're just going to fight with them, because if you think that you're going to change somebody's mind, you're dreaming. It's not going to happen. All right. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Louise. How you doing? Good afternoon, Tim. I love that work. Yeah, that's my workbench down in the garage. I have two of them. I have the one that I talked about early in the stream that Ralph, my neighbor, gave me. I package things on. I package actually these small little stain solver bottles on that workbench, and the one that's in the photograph is a quick one that I built, and I use it pretty frequently. It's to repair things. It works out really well, and that one's only 18 inches deep, just so you know. Yeah, exactly, Lennon. Correct. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for your help and advice, Tim. You're welcome, Obi 131313. Wonderful. Hi, William. How you doing? If you have any questions, now's the time to type them out. We're kind of getting, we've been on 52 minutes again. I cannot believe that it's been 52 minutes. Holy tomato. I don't feel like I've told you anything today. I just feel like I'm rambling on about nothing, and I don't want to bore you at all. So if you've got any questions, now's the time to ask them. I'll do my best to answer them. And like I said, the biggest thing that you could try this winter, and I'll just tell you this, I'm a really big fan of testing things. I like to test. I don't like to keep doing the same thing all the time, because I like to say, I wonder if there's a better way to do this or do that. And so I'm going to ask you to do this. I'm going to ask you, like, if you normally walk around your house and you just have a short sleeve shirt on, maybe you wear sandals and it's 20 degrees outside, I'm going to say, you know what? Why don't you put a pair of wool socks on, put on a hoodie sweatshirt, and see what happens. See if you actually are warmer. I mean, I already know what's going to happen. You're going to be warmer, and you're going to be more comfortable. And you might be able to turn that thermostat down 3 degrees. It'll make a difference. You'll save some money. Hi, William. Your first time here. Great. Thanks for coming. Hi, Vanessa. Good afternoon. What's a French drain? Okay, so I like to call them a linear French drain. It is the easiest description is I call them a gutter, a hidden gutter that's inside the ground. All right, so let me explain that really quickly. So if you understand how a gutter works on a house, so think of how a gutter works. What's the purpose of the gutter? So here's the purpose of the gutter. The average gutter on a home its job is to collect the water. Here's the gutter. I'm trying to do it with my hand. Here's the gutter at the bottom of the roof, and the water comes down the roof, gets into the gutter, and what does it do? It stops the water from going farther to the ground. All right, so that's its number one job. So It captures the water and stops it from going the direction that it was headed. So that's really important. And then what does it do? So now here's the water that was running this way down the roof. Now it turns a corner and runs one way or the other. It generally goes 90 degrees one direction or the other to a downspout. And then it goes down the downspout, and then it's generally piped away from the house. That's what's supposed to happen. It's a bad idea to have that downspout, just let that water loose on the ground right next to the house. You don't want to do that. All right. So imagine in the soil, here's what a lot of people don't understand. I know this because this is what I studied in school, and this is what my college degree's in, is geology. And I had a focus in hydrogeology, which is the study of groundwater. All right. So when it rains, and this is especially true over there in the UK, Lennon, a lot of people think that the water goes into the soil and just keeps going straight down. That's not really how it works. I mean, it would do that if you lived in an area where the soil is really sandy. I mean, really sandy. What typically happens, the soils have got a little clay in them. So the clay acts as a barrier and it doesn't let the water go down. So the water goes into the soil a little bit and it turns a corner 90 degrees or 70 degrees, and it starts flowing along the clay layer downhill, all right? Because gravity is trying to pull everything to the oceans. That's what Mother Nature's trying to do. All of the soil, all of the mountains, everything above sea level, Mother Nature's trying to get it back down into the oceans or the lakes. And then, but at the same time, she's also pushing land up along the continent edges. All right. So we could talk about that another day, but that's not really home improvement. But I'd love to talk about geology. All right. So if you have water flowing through the soil towards your house and it's leaking into your basement, you can take a French drain and basically surround your house with this French drain. The water goes into the French drain, flows around your house, and does not get into your basement or your crawl space. So all this information is on the website. Just go to askthebuilder.com, type in linear French drain, or just type French drain into the search engine. I've got a 90-minute video that you can watch that shows you exactly how to put it in. So, and it explains everything I just talked about in much greater detail. You have it. Yes, that's correct. I do have videos on the French drains. Do screen off the open and tend to keep critters out. You don't have to, because no, it's down in the ground, and I don't think anybody's making a hole in the linear French drain. No. Well, Jim's got a good point. Don't divert it to the neighbors. Here, well, I don't know. Here's what the law is about that. You generally, here's what you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to take water from part of your land and redirect it over to some place that it would not have run naturally. All right, so that's important. But generally speaking, the way that land is sloping, if the land on your lot is sloping down and there's a neighbor below you, that water would have gone there anyway. All right, it would have gone there anyway. So they're never going to win that lawsuit. It's just that you cannot concentrate the flow of the water to a spot in your lot where it would not have naturally gone. Your neighbor's going to win that lawsuit. All right, so you just have to put the water where it would have naturally gone, and you're allowed to do that. All right. Okay, we've been on almost an hour. It's crazy, hard to believe. I think I'm going to hang it up for today. I'll be here tomorrow, but tomorrow I will send an email out to the newsletter list, and we'll see how many people we capture. But it's not going to be an accurate test because, like I said, it'll be 2 days before Thanksgiving. It's going to be a little crazy. So, people are starting to travel. It's a really odd week here in the United States. So, it's going to be an odd time. So I just want to be here to answer your questions and have some fun and to do my best to help you. Will's got one last question. Does it make sense to apply leftover weed killer fertilizer? I don't know. So I'm not Ask the Gardener. I guess I'm okay with fertilizer. I would never, ever use weed killer at my home. and I don't like the fact that my neighbors use it. And I don't know about you, Will, but I'm on a well here. I'm on wells. There is no way you would ever get me to put weed killer on my lawn when that weed killer, when you can't even pronounce the names on the label and they have the chance of that poison going into my well water. No, thank you, man. I'm not doing it. So weeds are green. I'm okay with weeds. I don't care. I've never used weed killer. Not going to start using it. So fertilizer, same thing. I don't care about fertilizing my lawn. It just makes it grow faster. Then I have to cut it more often. so anyway, you'd have to ask a different guy about those questions. But I'm not using weed killer. Forget that. Kathy is doing great. She's a great woman, spelled with a K, by the way. But you would not have known that. She is so tolerant of me. I'm just actually writing a chapter about when we were dating before we got married in this book I'm doing for my daughter. So it's bringing back a lot of really great memories. It's really amazing to think that I have known my wife. We first met. She was dating a friend of mine. And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you the story real fast of when we met. I think you'll enjoy this. This is a great story because it brings back a lot of great memories. So I was a junior in high school. So this would have been, it was either late 1968 or early 1969. It was a winter. It was cold. I remember that it was cold. I was on a triple date with this friend of mine called Joe Wright. And I don't know who the other guy was that was with us. It could have been Dick Cronley. I don't know. I can't even begin to tell you who my date was. And here's why. So what would happen on a triple date, the way it worked, for the most part, all of us guys kind of lived close to one another. So whoever was driving that night would pick all of the other two guys up. Then we would start to go get the girls because the girls lived farther away. All right. So Joe was driving at night. And Joe's date, who turned out to be my wife eventually, was the last person picked up. All right. So it was dark, because it was in the wintertime. It gets dark here early, as it does just about everywhere in the winter. All right. So I'm in the back seat. I'm in the back seat of this car right in the middle. All right. So Kathy, Joe goes to the door, gets her. I don't care. I'm not, blah, blah. We're all talking in the car. The other four of us that are left. Kathy gets into the car, and I look at her. I mean, she doesn't look back and see me. And here's what my face must have looked like. She's a goddess. I mean, I need to get a photo of her high school senior photo. My youngest daughter looks identical to her. All right. So I hate to say, I don't want to say love at first sight, but she completely knocked me off my feet. And I could not get her off my mind. I mean, I was just like, holy tomato, this woman, this young girl. I mean, I guess you could say she was a woman, 17 years old, but she was so beautiful, and she still is. All right. So think about how many years ago that was. Long time. So 50 plus years. Pretty amazing. So I'm really blessed. And we've been married over 47 years. So we're survivors. So many people that I know have gotten divorced. Not a lot of people have been married that long. And the secret to that, pretty simple. Dude, you just learn to pick your battles, man. I mean, in our entire marriage, I don't think we've had an argument, but 3 times, if that. I mean, it just doesn't do any good, so you just learn. The key to maintaining any relationship, just so you know, is you have to be selfless. If you start to do an autopsy on failed relationships, I don't care if it's a friendship between you and another guy. I mean, just whether it's a male to male, female to female, male to female relationship, I don't care. What generally happens if you do an autopsy, you'll find out that one or even both of the people were selfish. Okay, so SELFISH. So if you want to have a great relationship, you have to be selfless. So selfless. You have to put yourself second, put the other person first. You do that, and you're with the right person, magic happens, is all I can tell you. So, all right, that's ask the relationship guy, right? All right, we got some comments here. Yeah, actually, the title of the chapter of this in the book that I'm writing, it's called "Past Girlfriends hyphen the End of Innocence." All right, because here I am, I had never really, I had only kissed a girl once before, so it just, back when I was in the 8th grade. So I mean, all of us probably went through that. The hormones start to go crazy, and you start to experiment. All right, it's part of being a human being and part of growing up. It's a really fun chapter to write. All these past girlfriends and why some of them and I just didn't. We were like oil and water, did not mix. William, thanks so much. You're welcome. I just found you a few days ago. Thanks again. You're welcome. I hope, William, that you're still there. I hope that you subscribe to my newsletter. Go to askthebuilder.com, subscribe to the newsletter. It's free. Every Sunday, it's got a lot of great tips in it, a lot of really great stuff. And I usually go over some of the past really great videos I've made that will also save you time and money. How often do you go live? Oh, that's a great question, William. I just started doing live streaming. I started doing it a little over a week ago. I'm having a blast doing it. And I've been picking 4:00 Eastern time is, I think, the best time. I don't know that it is. I can't do it much later because I'm a morning person. And by the time this time of day rolls around 5, 6 o'clock, I'm telling you right now, I run out of brain juice. I'm done. It's like it's on empty, but I'm my best at like 7, 8 in the morning. All right. So that was a long time ago. All right. So the other advantage of doing it about now is I can catch the people on the West Coast. All right. Here in America. So, in California right now, it's 10 after 5 or 10 after 2 in the afternoon. So anyway, I'm trying to go live Monday through Friday around 4:00 each day. That's the goal. But this week, I'm only going to do tomorrow. I'm not going to do Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday this week. All right. What type of building do you do? I don't do building at all anymore. I did it for many, many years. I decided back 28 years ago to start making money with my head instead of making it with my back. And I was really fortunate to be able to make that transition. So because I had figured out all those years ago that if I continued to do the work that I did, by the time I get to this age, I'd be crippled or disabled because it's such hard physical labor. So I do help with some work with friends. 2 years ago, I did all the plumbing, electric, and heating in my daughter's new home. But I don't run a contracting business every day. I don't do that anymore. How do you build a retaining wall? Simple, easy. Go to my website and read all about it. There's some really interesting physics involved. William, find the column on my website, retaining, just look for there's maybe 4 or 5 columns, not that much, but you need to read what happens mathematically the higher you go. Really important, really, really important. So just read the columns, and I give you all kinds of options as to what to do, how to build a retaining wall. Here in New Hampshire, we just stack rocks, no mortar, no nothing. But they're big rocks. I mean, big things. I mean, like bigger than beach balls. But you don't have to have a fancy thing. I mean, you can just build it out of stacked rock, and it works pretty good. So I've got that on my website. Late live streams in the US will be too late here in Europe. I know. I'm trying to figure that out, what to do. I'm open to advice. I'm open to what, I actually wonder, I don't know where this live stream thing's going to go. I can tell you that I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I'm starting to wonder if I should try to do one early in the day for people in Europe. The only thing I'm afraid of with Europe, just so you know, is that everything that I've seen is that you build so differently over there than here. So I'm afraid that a lot of my advice won't really apply to you. So I'm really kind of torn about that. I'm really interested in your feedback as to how well an American bloke, is that the right word to use, Lennon? like sarcastically, like what the heck do I know about how to do things in the UK or in Germany or in France or wherever, and plus here I'm speaking English. So, I mean, how many people in Europe? I mean, I know that English is not, it's not the universal language, but I don't know how many people speak it over there. I mean, of course, in the UK, I get it, but I'm just saying, I don't know that it would work to cater this live stream to a European audience. That's all. So anyway, thank you, Will. Yeah, a lot of houses are blocked, but a lot of sheds and huts are used here. Yeah, Germany, got it. Okay. I just, I'm open to suggestions. I'm open. As I said a few minutes ago, I like testing things, but I just don't. I think that most people would end up telling me, Tim, your stuff's not relevant here in Germany or France or wherever. I don't know. We can try it. We'll see what happens. The information is still entertaining. Well, that's because, dude, that's because I go off the rails. I've had quite a few people email me, and they I don't know. They say that I'm just real. I'm laid back, and I'm just what. Just so you know, what you see right here is who I am each day. I mean, actually, my wife and Kathy and I were just talking about this a little bit ago, and she said something. I mean, she can get away with it because we've been together so long, but she's like the kite string in my life. She's tied this kite string to me, and every now and then she's got to pull me back down to earth. So, but anyway, this is how I am each day, animated. I'm just what you see is what you get. Yes, so anyway, I'm gonna sign off here. I love live streams. I can see why. I'll tell you what. Before I go, William, tell me why. What is it that you like about the live stream? What is it exactly? I would love to know. And how, I know it's early because it's your first one here with me, but how does this rate against some of the ones you're seeing? I'm trying to get better. I just feel like I'm not as good as I can be, and I don't want to be polished. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be, hi, I'm Tim Carter, and today we're going to talk about roofs, and you need to get your roof done right, and it's got to be done this way, and you got to use these nails. I mean, no one likes to be lectured to. Come on. So why would you want to do a live stream that way? I think the best way to do it is just tell stories. So I'm trying to fold as many stories as possible into these live streams, like the story of how I met Kathy. So and if she were here, and she'll never be, she won't ever appear on camera, she would tell you, you need to know this. She thought for like the first 3 or 4 months, because she was still dating this other guy, she thought I was the biggest jerk in the world. It took me like 3 or 4 or 5 months to even get her to pay attention to me. I mean, but I would not give up. I just wasn't going to give up on it. I had been kicked to the curb by somebody else. And so, anyway, it just, she was so beautiful and smart. And I mean, she just has all these wonderful qualities. I mean, God has blessed me, to have a wonderful wife like Kathy. I'll tell you that right now. So I hope that if you're not married, or I hope you have a wife like Kathy or a husband, that you love. So anyway, it's just wonderful. So, all right. I know you didn't ask me. I did ask you, but the live streams that I enjoy the most use the word family a lot. Just a group of people who enjoy the same topic, getting together and visiting, telling stories. Exactly. And that's exactly right. All right. So you're right about that. And that's why my son is the one who, 10, 12 days, actually 2 weeks ago, 14 days ago, my son is the one who said, Dad, you got to start live streaming again, man. He said, you got to start it. Because I tried it 2 years ago and it was just horrible. It just didn't work well. But, and he told me exactly why, because of what you just said, William, because people, you develop a family, just like I have with my newsletter. I have a lot of people on my newsletter list who I become really, I would call them family, but many of them I've not met face to face. I've never even seen a picture of them. All right. And that's my disadvantage here is I know some of you, I see these very small little round photos in the chat, but I cannot, they're so small. I have no idea what they are. And sometimes people don't put their real photo there. I get that for privacy reasons, but, the disadvantage is I don't get to see you and I don't get to hear your voice. So that's problematic. And I know that if you tried to do that like on a Zoom call, it gets confusing really quickly, and it's I get it. So anyway, but I'm going to do more of them. I'm going to continue to do it. I have a lot of fun, and I'm going to end it right now. This is the longest one I've done so far, hour and 15 minutes. Crazy, 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 crazy. So I want to thank you for tuning in today, and thank you for all the likes. I really appreciate it. And once again, I'll say this again. If you have any suggestions of what I can do to make it better, let me know. Just go to the Ask Tim page on askthebuilder.com. If there's things you want me to continue to do that you think I'm doing well, let me know what those are. Let me know about the mistakes I'm making. I got thick skin. I'm not perfect. I know I can't satisfy everyone, but I'm trying to do. I just want this to be a really genuine, great live stream, and that we have some fun together too. So, yes, have a great night. Oscar, just hear your live stream again. Wonderful. Yeah, because what'll happen is if you subscribe to my newsletter right now, just go to the homepage of askthebuilder.com. You're going to get, once you hit the button, you got to go check your email, because there'll be an email, and you have to click the confirmation link in the email. It's a double opt-in system so that you don't get spammed. But anyway, tomorrow, then you'll get an email confirming that I'll be live streaming tomorrow at 4. But I can already tell you I'll be here. I'll be here tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern. So, all right, Steve, good night, buddy. Thanks so much for being here. Will, yeah, I know. Isn't this a beautiful LL Bean shirt? Are you kidding me? You know, it's got all my favorite colors, this beautiful blue. I'm a big fan of red, and of course green. So it's got my favorite colors in this one shirt. I told you last week, I love LL Bean stuff. They make such they sell. They don't make anything. I think they make their boots still, that they founder. That was the original product, was that boot that he made, that rubber boot. But they just sell really high quality stuff. I mean, you buy it from LL Bean, buddy. It's not crap. It's that's what I like, because I don't want to have to waste my time and hope that the thing I'm buying is going to work. See, that's the whole point when you get to be my age. Forget hope. You only want to hope for things you can't control. Well, I can control the stuff I buy. All right. So I'm going to buy from LL Bean because I know that this shirt's going to last for years. Simple as that. So simple as that. All right. You guys and gals have a great night. Thanks so much for being here. You can tell I'm having a good time. So I will be here tomorrow. And I don't know yet what we're going to talk about right at the top of the show, but it'll be something interesting, and I'll have a couple of good stories for you for sure. So have a great night yourself, and be safe, and save up your questions. Anything I can do to save you time and money, that's what I'm going to do. That's my job here. All right. Thanks a lot. See you tomorrow.